Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Dirty Air. It's another Sunday and another race, and we're here to talk about it, chop it up, talk about paint, all that good stuff. We were at Atlanta today for the Folds of Honor 500, and it was, to be honest, a pretty awesome show, I think.
Yeah, we didn't know what to expect with the brand new track. They
Mm-hmm.
completely tore out the old track, which it needed it. It was
Yeah.
falling apart last year, if you'll recall. So definitely needed that, but uh, I know we were a little uncertain. Maybe it wasn't going to be too great.
Yeah.
Talk of turning it into a super speedway, which isn't always the most entertaining race. But this, they pulled it off. It was a spectacularly entertaining race.
Yeah, it kind of worked for the format. Maybe if that's a new solution for one and a half to spice them up and mix it up and add some excitement back to them because they tend to be some of the more, lackluster races sometimes in the long run, the long haul.
Yeah.
But this one seemed to be exciting throughout the whole race. Lots of lead changes, I think, record setting.
Record setting number of lead changes for
Right.
a mile and a half, 46 lead changes.
That's incredible. That's awesome. So, everybody was all together, but at least were able to get around each other. That is a big difference sometimes. If we're talking about super speedway racing, is their ability to get actually around each other. So
Yeah.
it was good to see that if that's what we're calling it, a super speedway now.
Yeah.
I guess the miles per hour is about the same. They are running the smaller restricted package. I forget exactly the horsepower for those tracks. It was maybe like 550 or something. But it looked good, and it provided exciting racing and lots of shakeups, and also an interesting top 10 today, which was yet again coming off of last week was kind of a similar vibe. With felt like at the end it was like, wow, okay, this is an interesting finish, and some people out of the race again. We lost
Yeah.
some Hendrick guys along the way again this week.
Yeah.
Rowdy Bush along the way.
Unfortunately, a lot of strong contenders, some favorites to win the race,
Yeah.
didn't finish. 12 DNFs all told.
Wow.
Both of the Kyles, Denny
Yeah.
Hamlin,
Yeah.
Austin Cindric, Austin Dillon, Tyler Reddick.
A lot of people got caught up. It looked like a dang old crash test derby out there. With everybody about halfway through was all taped up and mangled up at least a little bit. So, hey man, that's exciting racing. That makes for a good race and exciting racing. And it also, to the new cars' testament, a lot of cars got beat up or had wrecks and still were able to stay in the mix.
Yeah.
If they're not hitting it like super hard or bending everything out too far out of shape, they were able to still put it back together and still go out there and run. The interesting one was, I guess, Larson when he went out and he was all mangled up. It was in the mix. Looked like he might have got spun. It looked like he was a little bit out of control too to begin with.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't going to be able to hang up there, and it was just so racy and gridiron up there at the front. Everybody was real close all day. That's, I think, what kept me into the race today.
Yeah, and seeing a lot of interesting, fresh faces up there in the top 10. A lot of them, unfortunately, getting a lot of bad luck later in the race.
Yeah, bad luck seemed to be aplenty today. People, just one false move in some of those corners, it seemed like maybe like getting in and out of the dog legs. They were talking about how it had been sheared up and shortened up a little bit. So it seemed like sometimes getting in and out of that is where people were having trouble. And that's where we also saw, I think, the leaders like spin
A few times leaders just spinning all on their lonesome.
Yeah, which is wild to see. They also said on the broadcast, I think it was all of the Chevys, which is interesting that it was just they were talking about, it was the Chevys, and something to do with the right rear was making them like just break free off those corners in the lead of all places. So I think it's still I think it's still a case of we're in a new car. It's a new season and still all the track changes. So it's a brand new track. People didn't have data, limited practice time as it stands right now with things. But again, for the past couple of weeks, it feels good. It feels good at all these different tracks. It hasn't been like we've only been at one track and we've seen them run all kinds of things now, and it's putting on a good show.
Yeah.
And that's really what counts, and you can't be mad about that. And it doesn't always feel like that a lot of times with a changeover and a new body. We are seeing a lot of similar things. Some things remain true. Hendrick is won 3 out of the 5 races. They're never not in contention on some level, at least with one car, if not 2 or 3.
Surprisingly, Larson already does have 1 win, but hasn't followed that up very well.
No, he's had
2
crap
DNFs
luck, in
a row now.
He's had some crap luck the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, 3 different Hendricks drivers have won, and then 2 first-time winners.
Yeah.
So it is still an exciting season. We're not... Hendricks is still dominating, but it's at least not just Kyle Larson winning race after race.
Yeah. Wait, give it a minute. They'll settle.
Yeah.
Well, fingers crossed it stays exciting all year.
It's still early, so he's still going to win a lot of these races.
Yeah, that's for sure. But, I mean, not to be a jerk, but it is fun to see him. Maybe, take a couple of losses, because if it ain't that, he's coming home top 5 probably. So.
Yeah. Well, and even with these poor showings the last few weeks, we know he's going to be a cup contender. We know he'll be in the Final Four, absolutely. And we're just hoping we're not seeing another Jimmy Johnson and Kyle Larson own the entirety of the 2020s, which he may very well.
It's looking like there's a good chance for that. So, forgive me if I'm happy if he wrecks out every once in a while, That's racing. You got to take him where you can get him, It's just as part of the show,
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, Byron performing well all day.
Mm-hmm.
So, did really well. Unfortunately, Bell continues to have bad luck. His second place finish being taken away because he crossed the double line on the last lap. So that bumped him down to the 20s something. So
yeah, and the whole super speedway thing, they did the no pass line or whatever around the whole entire track, I believe, not just even in spots.
And after, in the post-race interview, they were talking to Chastain, they said, you finished 3rd, and he said, I might be 2nd, and it turned out it was actually 2nd. So
accurate.
Trackhouse continuing to have a great year. Man. They finished 2nd and 4th this week.
Great to see new people being threats like week in and week out.
Absolutely.
That's what we need to be able to keep it content with, like Hendrick and Gibbs and like Stuart Haas, like all the big guns. So it's just another great part of this season so far.
Yeah.
It's the greatest season ever, isn't it? Or did they call it a year early?
No, that was last year.
That was last year.
Last year was the greatest season ever. They haven't mentioned that once so far this year. Even though I would say this season has been.
It's like an all right year so far.
But yeah, anyway, the whole top 5 was interesting. Kurt Busch managing to squeak up in there, the top 5 again in the 3rd place.
He's hyped up on Monster.
LaJoy.
Oh, yeah.
Number 7 car. Finishing 5th. So
yeah,
that was really interesting.
Yeah, it's again good to see new lifeblood and people coming home top 10. And this one just felt like all day it kind of shifted and moved and. It just, a lot of the damage and wreck cars, like, just shook it out so where it was a weird lineup at the end of it, cars left and who's running top 10. But, I'm not mad about that. I'm excited about the next leg of the schedule. It's a road course and then all 3 short tracks. It feels like every week there's a little bit of something that feels like different or it's the first time we're seeing something. So it's pretty much thumbs up for me so far. Like, I think it's pretty much mostly all aces. I think the tire. I don't know. I think like one of my only complaints would be like the lug nut.
We are continuing to see issues with the tires.
Right. Like it's a part of the sport and part of the weekly
thing. A very
thing.
important part of the sport.
Tires is what we're in a race, Cole.
Yes. And next week, we got a road course to look forward to. Really looking forward to seeing Chase.
So we're going to bring it home finally?
Hopefully he will get his first win next week. I was hoping he might pull it off here today at his home track.
Looking good there. Didn't
finish. Another contender, Bubba Wallace, known for his skill on the super speedways. Looked like he could have been in the running, suffering another dose of bad luck.
Yeah. Maybe next time.
He's improving, and 23:11, still managing to get a number 3 finish with Kurt.
Yeah, good showing. Good showing
And
with those guys.
a good showing for Toyota, which it kind of needs it this week.
Yeah.
It should have been a 2-4 finish, but I guess they'll have to settle for 3.
Yeah. That's all looking good so far.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to stay glued to the seat when the race itself is more than 4 hours long, and not even including the pre-show. When you're looking at close to 5 hours of broadcasting, it can be a little much to sit through all of that.
Overall, I think, this is another week in a row where it's like, hey, man, this is good racing.
Yeah.
It's good racing that I feel confident in saying this is all in a positive direction.
Mm-hmm. And a good broadcast this week, welcoming Jeff Gordon back to the booth.
Yep, old Gordo back in the mix, chopping it up with Clint. It was an okay broadcast and everything went pretty smooth on that end. Gordon's already, done enough time in there to where it kind of... Mm-hmm.
He's built that rapport.
Yeah.
And I feel until they actually hire a full-time host to join the booth, it's going to be this kind of rocky broadcast. They don't have time to...
It's harder to gel.
To gel with the other co-hosts and just work on banter.
Right.
We'll see how it goes.
It's also hard to kind of make it super exciting because you got so much time to fill. So
yeah.
I'm not going to hold it.
5 hours.
Yeah,
that's a lot of time to fill with chit-chat.
I don't know. How many diggers do you think this race should get this week?
Oh, this was quite an exciting race. New track definitely delivered. So I'd say at least 4 diggers.
4 diggers?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
How you agree?
I can back to 4 diggers because the excitement level is just staying good and high, and it's not. I've yet to feel kind of been like, oh, that was a letdown, or that was kind of a bummer. It's even if it is a Hendrick win again, at least I got a lot of racing out of the 4-hour race or whatever. Yeah. It felt like there was something to watch. Whereas years prior, especially hate to always pick on them, but the 1.5 tracks, it felt a little bit boring at times. So yeah, I'm confident with the 4 solid diggers on that. So yep. After diggers, we always got to talk about paint.
Absolutely.
Paint jobs of the week. The good, the bad, the ugly. Let's see what we got.
Well, we did have a number of fresh paint schemes this week.
Yep, there were a couple.
So, a surprising entry, number 38, Todd Gilliland in a Georgia Peanuts.
Oh, yeah, dude. I love this scheme. Yeah.
Yeah. We decided this was the best paint scheme
for sure.
of the week. Didn't get a whole lot of airtime.
Nope, maybe for a split second on the broadcast. Unfortunately, what happens to a lot of the back running cars from time to time is they don't get as much love on the race coverage. Mm-hmm. But this one was cool. It's just a classic, old school, simple, like red and yellow design, like eye-catching, easy to read, like it checked off pretty much all the boxes, and it was also bright and colorful, which is always the marker for us. I think the top category we got to rank stuff on, but yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah, and a nice local sponsor for the race.
Yeah, that's also cool. Hey, we got to do one-time races now. That's just how it goes. So
yeah,
might as well do area stuff.
And coming in next, somebody had a great paint scheme but didn't have a lot of luck on the track today. Noah Gregson, number 16 in the Chevy Liners truck.
Oh, right.
Caught our eye immediately, had that great neon yellow.
Yellow and black kind of, almost Bumblebee, but like neon-y.
Yeah, very simple, classic. Yeah. And neon's always eye-catching. I would like to see more of that. It looked like it was neon yellow on the sides and regular yellow on the roof number.
Oh, the roof number, yeah. Which, I don't know, kind of is a little bit weird, but it's also still kind of draws your eye in. It's kind of like...
I think it would have been better if it was all of that neon yellow.
It
was so eye-catching.
But yeah, it was definitely one of the ones this week, and it was something new, which is, again, going to be a recurring thing probably, is like definitely like seeing something new week to week is always going to be a little bit more exciting, even if there were cars that we love. Like we could put like the DeWalt car up every week, or Kyle Busch on the list every week.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle Busch had the Classic M&M's scheme this week, which we love, but we have seen it quite a few times, and we'll see it a lot more this season. So
right. So new blood
make the list.
New blood is going to go a long way for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And following up behind Gregson in a very similar car, yellow and black, Corey LaJoy, number 7 in the Federated Order of Eagles.
Oh, right, yeah. It's like a old dudes club.
Yeah, some old dudes club. But a very striking paint scheme.
Right.
Mostly black with some yellow striping details on the side. And that one had the yellow roof.
Yeah. I like the number font too on that 7, I believe.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It almost
Spire has the great choice of font. Another contender that didn't make the list was Corey LaJoy's teammate, 77, had a very
kind of
similar paint scheme. But that classic, like, old school racy font for the numbers.
Yeah, it looks groovy.
Which most people... we don't talk that much about fonts, and so many of them use a very similar, bland, bold Arial font.
Right.
But this one adds a little extra pizzazz.
Yeah, it has its own little like flavor to it, which is nice, and that makes it like that's cool too. And you can pick out the team has sort of like the same font numbers.
Yeah. Following up number 4, we've got the 42 Ty Dillon.
Oh right.
With the Alsco uniforms.
Yeah.
Sponsorship. Petty Motorsports also having a good
paint year over there.
Not performing as well. Ty, of course, didn't finish.
Ty, I felt like the 43 was in the mix a little bit this week, but
Eric Jones definitely better, but the 42 Ty Dillon not so much.
Right, 2 weeks in a row on the list for paint, I believe now. It was just kind of classic simple. They're keeping it simple over there, which is something we talk about. And I feel like a lot of them get mixed up and like, oh, let's throw all these different colors, and it gets kind of over complicated. They overthink it, and sometimes too. That's part of the paint. If they just kept it simple in one color, and like it would be a lot easier to pick people out and like read their number, read their sponsor. But nobody's listening to us about paint. Unfortunately, right now, got to make paint great again.
Yes. And this is a great example of that. Nice, simple, two-tone green, which is obviously a color you don't see too much of. Tends to be avoided with some yellow accents and bold sponsor logos, very legible.
Right.
Just another great paint job.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
And rounding out our list, another surprise entry from Hendrick. Actually pulling off a good paint scheme with one of their secondary sponsors. Yeah. The winner, William Byron, 24, in the Liberty University paint scheme.
Flames.
Yep, 24, paying homage to Jeff Gordon's classic flame paint schemes. His ran for years, usually a little bit more colorful.
Yeah, this one had a bit of the white.
I liked the minimalist white.
I thought it looked cool on the sides. I thought maybe that's the hood was a little...
The hood could use some improvement.
Need a little bit bigger logo or something.
Make your logo bigger. Fill the hood up. You couldn't really see it.
Yeah.
And also, it's the racing stripes on the hood.
Right.
Which were nice. Flames and racing stripes, both
classic.
Not used too much in NASCAR.
Yeah, it's been chilled out. I think there's like maybe one other team, I think, off the top of my head, that like even has flames in one of theirs line right now. So it was cool to see it. And like I said, I do like the side. I think the side is what made it.
Yes.
Yeah. And who was the worst offender of the week?
Well, another...
It's going to paint jail.
Yes, paint jail. Contender to win ended up not doing so well. Blaney in the number 12. Had the body armor car.
Oh, yeah.
Really wasn't too great. It was... one of the, I feel, usually misguided examples of using a picture of the product.
You hate that. It's like your pet peeve.
It's rarely done well.
Yeah, it doesn't. I know what you mean. It kind of looks busy. And kind of overly complicated.
And with that brand, with a name like Body Armor, I understand why they'd want to do that, because you don't know what the product is.
Could
just
be
from the name.
Sweatpants or socks or something.
Who the heck knows what that could be, so they want to help explain what it is, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
just don't like the pictures.
Man. Right. And it was again trying to find something like new for the list as well. Like trying to not to beat anybody too hard with a hammer, even though that's gonna happen no matter what. But like I just kind of saw that one and I was like, that one's kind of just like meh. It's a lot of a snooze. It's a big snooze button on that one.
Yeah, and Penske's really
hit or miss. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's paint for the week again. Just keep it tight on like a 5 best and then the number one worst offender.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of repeats, so it is what it is.
But hopefully we'll see some fresh paint next week.
Maybe some new stuff for the road course race.
Yeah.
Looking good out there going left and right. I'm looking, like I said earlier, I'm looking forward to this next leg of the schedule. I think is awesome.
Yeah.
Especially with the performance we've seen out of everything else, the variety of tracks, like going into the road courses, going into the short tracks. I'm excited about this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. There's going to be a lot more diggers to come. I'm going to throwing out a lot of diggers on these ones, hopefully, because they've all been pretty good shows so far. So, we will see you guys next Sunday for Road of America, I believe, is it? Up there.
Circuit of the Americas.
Circuit of the Americas.
Yes.
Something of the Americas.
Circuit of the Americas in Texas.
All right. Looking forward to it. So we'll see you guys next time. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Amen.